Hi, I'm John, and welcome to this free and easy, I hope, little lesson on open tuning. First of all, what is open tuning? Well, if you play the standard tuning on a guitar, it's not really a chord. I suppose in jazz it might be, but it doesn't sound very melodic. Whereas when you play a chord, like when you finger C major or whatever, it does sound melodic. So in open tuning, what you do is you alter the tuning of some of the strings on your guitar so that it plays a chord when the strings are played open, like this. Now, this guitar is tuned to a D major open tuning, and we'll get to that in a little while. What that is exactly. What's open tuning good for? Well, it's good for jamming because you can play chords just by going straight across the neck with your finger like this. You don't have to remember complicated shapes. So if that's your D minor chord, D chord, this would be G, this would be A. So you can play a standard, three chord riff quite easily. Just by barring straight across. Also, because it has a droning sound like a bagpipe somewhat, you've got all these octaves of the same note in a lot of open tunings. It's pretty easy to improvise just by picking a simple pattern for your fingering and moving it around like this. I'm going to take the E major shape and play it in this tuning and move it up and down the fingerboard. There's the open sound. So you can see that's got possibilities. You might not want all those chords in a song, but some of them are certainly interesting. And some of the strings stay open. So when I play it in the first position like this, three of the strings are open and I'm fingering the other three to get that sound. Or you can just pick a pattern, like say here and here, and move it up and down the fretboard. It also produces great harmonics because the harmonic is a chord. It's not just a pattern of notes. Listen to this. Pretty nice, huh? Okay, so you want to try standard tuning. You may also be doing this because you like to play slide or bottleneck, and that's the other easy thing with open tuning because you get a chord when you play the string. So just by using the bottleneck to slide around on the frets, you get new chords without having, again, to know fancy fingering. So now, I'm by no means a great bottleneck player, but a lot of old blues has bottleneck playing like that in various open tunings. So that's one thing that's useful about it. So let's get into a few open tunings. You know what standard tuning sounds like if you've been playing guitar. How about C major? So first of all, how would you get a C major open tuning? Well, the notes in the C major chord are just three. C, that's the root note, E, the third, and G, the fifth. So you've got to change some of the strings so that the bottom string goes down actually two tones to C, which gives you a really low bass. The A string goes down a tone to G. The D string goes down a tone to C. You don't change the G string. The B string goes up half a tone to make a C, and you don't change the top string. So I'm going to show you on my electric guitar what that tuning sounds like. It's a pretty wild one because you get that super low bass. That's two tones down from the standard tuning for the low string. And you also get some really bluesy sounds just by fretting a couple of the notes. I'll play the whole chord first. So that's what C major open tuning sounds like. Now listen to this. because some of the strings are down, it's really easy to bend them. They're not as tight. You can do this kind of stuff. All right, so that's C major open tuning. Now, a really common one is G major open tuning. A lot of people use that, and to get G major tuning, you take the lowest string down to D. You take the A string down to G. You don't change the next two strings. Well, actually, the next three strings, D, G, or B. So the only other string you need to change the tuning of is the top string, and you take that down to D. So you have the three notes of the G major chords. G, the root note, B, the third, and D, the fifth. And that's a good, easy to use tuning you'll hear a lot. D major open tuning, which is the one I've got in my acoustic right now. What are the three notes of the D major chord? D is the root note. Let's see if I can remember this correctly. Yes, F sharp is the third, and A is the fifth. So this is the D major open tuning sound on a guitar. I like that tuning. It's not quite as common maybe as G major, but it's an interesting one. And this note, the F sharp, because it's a little different than the others, you have to be careful not to hit the wrong fret on it with the other strings, or it'll sound really out of shape like this. Now that's quite a good dissonance, right? That's just half a tone up from this. All right, E minor, you can also tune to minor chords. I'll give you a couple examples. E minor open tuning. E string, low E string stays the same. A string goes up to B. D string goes up to E. The G and the B strings do not change, and neither does the top string, the E. So that's a relatively easy one to do. So E minor, root note is E. G is the third, and the minor third in this case, and then B is the fifth. Nice tuning. And A minor open tuning, E on the bottom string, A on the next one, they don't change. The D goes down to C, the G goes up to A, the B goes up to C, the top E stays the same. So A minor, the notes are, root note is A, third is, the minor third is C, and the fifth is E. Another nice tuning, and there are more. You can tune your guitar to any chord you want. Now, you want to hear some good examples of open tuning. Joni Mitchell uses them a lot. She had an illness in childhood, I forget whether it's polio or something else, that weakened her left hand. So she often played in open tunings because she could get different chords without having to, put a lot of fingers down on the fretboard, so to speak. Dulcimers use an open tuning, an old kind of Appalachian folk instrument. Lots of blues. Robert Johnson, a great early blues man, and Muddy Waters play slide using various open tunings, and it's great to listen to them. For a different sort of folkier kind of music, I'd recommend Leo Kottke, who sounds wonderful on a 12-string guitar with open tuning, or John Fahey, who has sort of weird, introspective, modal blues with extremely strange album titles like The Transfiguration of Blind Joe Death, but he's a great guitar player nonetheless. And of course, Ry Cooder, who can play just about anything and often plays slide guitar and open tuning with music of other styles from around the world, be that, African blues or Hawaiian or whatever. So there's some places to listen to. And of course, Bonnie Raitt is a wonderful slide guitar player herself. So that's some advice about open tuning. Though I'll just finish by saying, to make it easy on yourself, a couple of tips. One is, when you want to change your guitar to an open tuning, look for the strings that allow you to do that with the least number of tuning changes, right? So if one way to do it would involve changing 5 of the strings, and the other way to do it would involve changing just 2 or 3 of them, I'd go with the easier one. It's easier on you. It won't take as long for the guitar to settle because you're not changing as many strings. So basically you figure out the 3 or 4 notes in the chord that you want to tune to, and then look for ways to get them on the strings by retuning them. It doesn't really matter what order you play them in. It's called an inversion when you, for example, you play the low string is a lower note than the root note, as long as it's got the right 3 notes somewhere in the order of strings. The other I would say is when you have a choice, it's better to tune down than up, because if you tune up too much, especially on the high strings, the E and the B, you can end up breaking them just by that change in tension. So you might want to have some extra strings around if you're going to try a lot of open tunings. Most of the ones I've showed you, the majority of notes come down. And I made a little chart of the open tunings I've discussed. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. It indicates which notes are in each open tuning. And I'll put that in the video as well, a couple of shots of it, so that you can always pause on that and read the open tuning there. I got it straighter. So good luck on your open tuning journey. And if you have any questions I can help with, just put it in the comments. Thanks for listening.